All right, let's do this. Welcome, everybody, to the IU Hoops Halftime Report. Your Indiana Hoosiers currently leading the Illinois Fighting Illini 38-32 in a half that I think, all things considered, you have to be pretty pleased with from an Indiana perspective. You know, on the road in a tough environment against a team obviously desperate to get their first win in Big Ten play, and that has been playing pretty well, playing some teams tough. Indiana jumped out and took control early and then just kind of kept Illinois at arm's length. And that's really, to me, for a team like Indiana, that's about as good as you can expect in a road game like this, is to jump out, get control early. And then every time Illinois kind of started to get a little bit of momentum, Indiana would make a play. They'd go underneath to Juwan Morgan, or Robert Johnson would hit a three-pointer, or Devontae Green would make a nice pass to find someone for an open shot. Zach McRoberts would get an offensive rebound. Indiana is the better team. I think that seems clear from the fact that Indiana's won 5 games in Big Ten play and Illinois hasn't. And so far tonight, Indiana is playing like it. And so very impressed so far with what Indiana has done, given the short turnaround that they were on, because this Illinois team presents a different kind of challenge than what Indiana has seen with the defensive pressure that they put on you. And Indiana, for the most part, has done a pretty good job of dealing with that. Obviously the turnover numbers, not ideal. The Hoosiers have 7 turnovers. 6 different guys have at least one. And so they've turned it over on 21.7% of their possessions. That's more than they've been turning it over this season, but it's less than what Illinois usually forces. Illinois usually forces turnovers on 24% of possession. So I think overall, especially given some of the challenges that Indiana's guards have had, pretty pleased with what they've been able to do against this defense. And I think it all starts with Juwan Morgan, who either scored or assisted on Indiana's first 14 points. And, we'll see how the second half goes, but I have a strong feeling that, come the end of this game, we're going to be talking about how important the beginning of the game was. Indiana jumped out to a 12-6 lead at the under 16-minute timeout. It was 12-4 at one point. And, I mean, they did that on the back of Juwan Morgan, who, again, like I said, scored or assisted on the first 14 points, had one of the greatest offensive rebounds that you'll ever seen, and converted it into a bucket. So that was really good to see. Obviously, a very strong half from Juwan. The team, as you would expect, didn't play particularly well with him on the bench. So I think, only has 1 foul. He played 15 minutes there in the first half. I would imagine if the game stays close, Archie may try and give him 1 break, but especially down the stretch, I mean, Indiana's just not going to be able to have him off the court. He has 15 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, a steal in the first half. Other notable performances in the first half, obviously Zach McRoberts was terrific. He scores 10 points, knocks down a couple of 3-pointers. It was really nice to see him looking for his shot, not hesitating. In fact, he even forced a shot. I tweeted out at one point, Devontae Green is starting to rub off on Zach McRoberts, because he took that rebound coast to coast and took that shot. He missed it. But, a guy like Zach, you almost don't mind if he forces a shot or two every now and then, because he's a threat. And now Illinois, has to pay attention to him. And I thought Devontae Green, for his part, I thought he played really well offensively. Didn't score any points, but also only took 1 bad shot. And so that's good. So there weren't any empty possessions, because Devontae was forcing shots, and he had 3 assists. And I thought, for the most part, did a nice job of handling the pressure, getting the ball where it needed to go. Started out well defensively, but then I think, they're late in the first half, as a lot of the Hoosier players did. He struggled trying to contain Frazier. And so Indiana's obviously going to have to get that fixed, because Frazier ends up with 13 points, really came on strong there. And I thought Indiana played really good defense early, and I thought they did a pretty good job of containing some of the dribble penetration, keeping Illinois out of the lane. But then as you got there, into the second part of that first half, Illinois was able to get into the lane a little bit more and do more of the things that they wanted to do. That then opened them up for some 3-point looks as well. And so I think especially the guards, Devontae and Robert Johnson, just left a wide open 3-point shooter there at the end of the first half. You could see the dismay from the coaching staff on the sideline. So Newkirk, Durham, those 4 guys are going to have to play better defensively in the second half. I think all of them did a pretty good job offensively, considering the challenge of the defense that they're facing. But I think defensively, they really need to step up and play a little bit better. Justin Smith, I thought, had a nice defensive first half, had a couple of turnovers on offense. but really did a pretty good job defensively, I thought. And then Colin Hartman had a nice little sequence there when he had that beautiful outlet pass that ended up turning into a bucket after a nice pass by Devontae Green. And then he had that nice drive there into the basket to help, help Juwan Morgan with a little bit of extra offense there. And Robert Johnson, a little tentative to me in the first half. I think the 2 3-pointers that he hit were really important, but a little bit more tentative than we would like to see. So I think keys to the second half, number 1 on my list for Indiana is make free throws. The Hoosiers are 3 of 8 from the line. Excuse me for a moment. Hoosiers are 3 of 8 from the line. They're leaving points out there, and Illinois is going to foul you. They're going to put Indiana at the line. Indiana is sub 300 in the country in making free throws. This has clearly become a season-long problem. So they have got to make free throws in the second half. I think, again, I mentioned the defense. I think Indiana has got to contain Illinois' dribble penetration. Someone's got to step up and stop Frazier. They're obviously hedging screens pretty hard to try and prevent the Illinois guys from turning the corner. And so I think that has to be a big focus. And then, continue to rebound. It's been big. Illinois, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. Indiana holding them down fairly well on the offensive glass. They only have 4 offensive rebounds. You would project them to get more than that. So I think that's going to be another key for Indiana. And then continue sharing the ball. The Hoosiers have assists on 73% of their made field goals. They have 11 assists on 15 buckets. And that's the way that you beat this pressure. Don't try and do a whole lot of fancy dribbling through it. Move the ball. Sorry. Move the ball, find the open man, get good looks. And when Indiana does that and is patient, they are getting good looks. So, again, all in all, solid first half for the Hoosiers. They were in control of it for the entire 20 minutes. Now they need to go do that again, and let's bring home another Big Ten road win. Join me on the postgame show. Ryan won't be with us, but Andy will be there. Coach Tonsoni will be there, so we'll have a great show for you after the game. I know it's going to be a late start, but hey, this is when the diehards show up, so we will expect you there on the postgame show. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me here on the Halftime Report, and we will talk to you after the game.